Okay, so you've just moved to LA and you want to start a career in filmmaking. How much money can you make? Now, this is a question that I wasn't really able to get an answer for before I was moving out here. And I really wanted to know while I was looking for an apartment, looking for what car to drive, and just kind of trying to figure out what my monthly expenses would be and see if I could cover them with only filmmaking. Now, I think a lot of people, when they move to LA, they either plan on getting a side job outside of film, or they just plan on working as hard as they can to make sure that film pays all their bills. And for me, it was kind of a side job is a backup plan, but I'm going to go as long as possible just making films and see how far that can get me. So to start off with my experience, and then I'll move on to some of my friends' experience because there's so many different ways to do it out here. But my experience has come from wanting to be a director. So when I first got here, it took me a while to find some like directing work. But once I did, I realized that one, it's worth a lot of money to have somebody on set that can direct the film and have a vision for it. And two, people are looking for directors. So if that is the route you want to go and you want to make either your own content or help other people make their content, there is possibilities out here to make money doing it. The problem is that if you want to make all of your own stuff and not really have to worry about other people's content, the way I've been doing it doesn't really work. Let me explain what I mean by that. So to get paid making your own content, you either need to find an investor or you need to find a way to monetize your own content. And I guess a good way to do that would be YouTube for one, or to find a studio to fund your projects, which is a very hard thing to do and it's much easier said than done. So what I've done while coming here is I've still directed, but it's been other people's projects. I've been hired to do a few music videos, I've been hired to do short films, and even some little advertisements here and there. Now the highest paying thing out of all of these, at least for me, has been the music videos, and it's something I enjoy doing, and when you find the right artists, it can be very fulfilling, and you can give your ideas as well as take theirs and make their vision happen. Now also, the most unfulfilling thing I've done has been music videos, because sometimes you do get an artist who doesn't let you give any ideas, has kind of an idea that you don't think will work, but you need to do it anyway. And this is fine because you're getting paid to direct still, but it's a little bit killer out here when you do find yourself in those types of situations. So I guess my advice to anybody, if I could go back and talk to myself, would be try to find artists, try to find clients, try to find anybody that needs content, and then before you say yes to the job, make sure that what you're doing is fulfilling and that you can give some sort of creative part to the process. Finding these clients is the hard part, the extremely hard part. Making it happen once they give you a budget, once you have the idea down, that's the easy part. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're a filmmaker, you know how to get stuff done. But finding the clients that allow you to do that is where the hard part comes. And I'll make a whole video, I think, later on how to find clients, especially here in LA. But I guess the short answer, and I'm sure you've heard this anywhere you go, is networking. You need to go out every day, you need to meet new people, you need to meet people in music, you need to meet people in other people in film so you have a crew when the day does come where you're called. You need to meet people in other industries even so that you can pull favors and that you can give them favors so that things work out the way they're supposed to. I know it's kind of a cheesy answer and networking is never what you want to hear because how do you network? That's a good question. I will do a whole video on LA networking and how to get clients at some point. But for now, I guess the way I would say you're going to make money when you first get to LA, if you want to be a director, is by making other people's stuff, which is unfortunate if you have a lot of ideas, if you're a writer like myself. I wish I could just be making my stuff, but also collaboration and learning through other people's projects is very valuable in my eyes. Now, when it comes to the amount of money you can make, really the sky's the limit. It depends on who your client is. It depends on what they're expecting from you. On a higher budget thing, my rate has been $1,000 a day plus overtime. If we go over 12 hours, I charge overtime. But if it's like a smaller thing, I've done $300 days as director, kind of as favors for people who just needed somebody to come in and do it. It really, the tough thing about freelance is that you don't necessarily have a set rate for every type of project. A short film, you're going to charge more or less than a music video. A commercial, you're going to charge more or less than a music video as well. It just depends on the job and the client. But I would say don't take less than a day rate of 500 if you're going to direct, and definitely try to get on the higher end of over $1,000 if you can, on things like music videos and commercials. Now, when it comes to short films, a lot of times these are passion projects. There's not that big of a budget. You're doing it more to learn. I have taken less on that side of things. Now, kind of moving on from my experience as somebody who's been directing and going on to crew, which I do have a little bit of experience on, it is very different. And this is going to be where you kind of have to make a decision if you want to work on higher end budget things, union type things, or you want to work on the smaller budgets. So I know a lot of people that are working in union sets, which means it might be going on Netflix, it might be going on TV, it might be going into theaters, it might be going into Amazon. You know, you never know, but these are really big shows, and a lot of the time the entry-level position on these things is PA. So if you come here wanting to work on big movies and big shows, definitely the way for you to go would be to start PAing, but that depends on what you want to do in the industry later. For me, PAing doesn't necessarily teach me much about directing. I don't really get to get close to the story. I don't get to get close to the actors, so it's not something I've done very much. I try to stay away from it and direct the smaller type things. But if being a crew member, if you want to get to know camera more, if you want to get to know assistant directing more, just the production side of things, being a PA is very valuable, and you get to see a lot of great things. Now, when it comes to money on those, it, in my experience, has been the first 8 hours you get minimum wage. So I think minimum wage is about 15. So from the first 8 hours, you're getting 15 an hour. From 8 hours to 12 hours, you're getting time and a half, which is roughly 23 or something, 22 or 23 or 24. And then after 12 hours, if you go any longer than that, you get double time. So you get $30 an hour. It's pretty good money, but it is consistently over 12 hours every day, which is fine in my experience if you're day playing. If you are staff on a show or a movie, you're going to have to go the whole production, showing up every single day that they're shooting, which is usually 6 to 7 days a week, and you won't have much time to do anything else. So again, if you're a writer, if you are trying to make your own things, I would advise not PAing, at least not staff. I have picked up days here and there on different movies and shows and really enjoyed my time just seeing how a bigger operation works, but at the same time, it left me no time when I got home to think about my own content. So it's steadier money, it's guaranteed this much, you don't really negotiate your rate as much, but it does leave you with a time issue. Now, if you want to be on the crew side of things, and you don't really want to be on these big movies and shows, then you can still make a pretty good amount of money working on the type of things I've been directing, these smaller shoots. Now, the way that this works is you're not going to really apply for these things. You're not really going to be able to find it anywhere. The same with the big movies. You need to find somebody who's in on the project, trusts you, knows that you do good work, and they're going to bring you onto the crew. So if you're on the camera side of things and you want to make a music video, but you don't necessarily want to direct it, you're going to have to become friends with the director in order to be called the day that they get the call for the video. So those types of things, the pay is pretty good. It's going to be less than if you're a director, obviously, but if you're a DP, if you're a camera person, you're still going to get quite a bit. Then when you get down to the grip side and you get to like camera assistants, then it's going to be a little less, but still really good money for the amount of work you're doing. And these are going to be gig by gig bases where you can negotiate your rate and figure out exactly how much that job is worth. And usually you negotiate that with a producer or sometimes even with the director or the artist, depending on who's paying for the video. So yeah, I think LA is an interesting place. I've been here for about 6 months. I've been able to mostly pay my rent with directing gigs, which is good. Not what I was expecting. I thought I'd have to pick up a side job, or I thought I'd have to do more crew work, but I am very happy and very fortunate to be in a place where I've been able to pay a lot of my bills from these directing jobs. But yeah, like this video if it helped you kind of learn a little bit more about the industry. It's a really tough industry to speak on because it's different for everybody. I moved out here with a lot of my film school buddies, and we're all doing different things. We're all getting different rates. We're all working different hours, and it's really tough. But in my experience, these are kind of the things that I would want to know before I got out here. Just money-wise and filmmaking-wise. The two things I'm interested in the most is like personal finance, how much money you're making, saving, investing, and all those things, and then obviously filmmaking, as I am a film director. And I think merging those two things into this YouTube channel is going to give a lot of insight to people who are interested in doing their passion artistic job as their career while also being able to maintain a lifestyle that they want. So combining finances with your art and your passions, I think, is a very valuable thing and something I like talking about and something that I think it could bring value to a lot of people. So yeah, this is my first video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. I'll be back to talk about networking. I'll be back to talk about different types of jobs. I'll be back to talk about life in LA and how adjusting to the prices of everything is kind of tougher to do, and just different things on LA, filmmaking, and finances is what I want this channel to be all about. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.